The Guerin Report, brought to you by Diatonic, standing at Yulong. Kia ora, good evening. Welcome to the Guerin Report and welcome on trackside to your week of champions. Champions Day is at Ellerslie on Saturday. $8.5 million worth of races. Our chance to shine. The NZB Kiwi is going to be the centrepiece, but we have the Bone Crusher New Zealand Stakes, the Sistema, the Albasti Equable Dubai Classic for the fillies and mares, and of course, it is now Hong Kong Jockey Club World Pool New Zealand Derby for $1.25 million. Most of those fields aren't available to us, but tonight on the show, we're going to talk about the horses who will and won't be there. But a field we do know is now out. The NZB Kiwi, worth $4 million plus bonuses, is going to look like this. This is your final field pre-draw. The riders have already been confirmed. So this is who we have. One Australian, Asakura. Dean Yedel comes across to ride, one of three Australian jockeys in the race, alongside Ben Thompson and Mick D. The horse who was declared this afternoon, To Bravery Born, means that Tiakau, Mark Walker, Sam Burgesson have 4 reps in the race. Wexford have 2, and of course, the hot favourite is Well Written. $1.20, will that change tomorrow at the barrier draw at 7 o'clock, which will be live on trackside? Well, you'll have to tune in to find out. That market sees who is so tight, the bookies are now starting to drift some of the others. They're saying, what can we possibly do to get you to back Bal Cheval at $9, Asakura at 13s. He Who Dares, who could potentially, if the draws go well, be the leader in the race and therefore the best place bet, but out to $15 for Opie Bossum. So that is your Kiwi field at this stage. We went to Ellerslie this morning to find out how the superstar, unbeaten and horse of the season so far, Well Written, is doing. Here is she galloping over 1,200 metres, the last 600 quickening up, and Stephen Marsh with his thoughts not only on the superstar filly, but on the week ahead. All right, we've had plenty of chats in the last couple of months about this horse, but she looked pretty willing this morning. Looks a pretty happy horse.
Very happy. Yeah, I thought her work was great. Matt Cartwright in the saddle, same mate, worked over the same amount of ground, and I think Matt was even happier with her work today, and I thought she was great to the line, and she's pulled up nice, and I just think it'll bring her on beautifully.
I've seen a few horses over the last week or two. They're just starting to look like they're coming to the end of the campaign. You can just see their coats are getting a bit dull. She seems to be mentally in a very good space. I suppose she has had her racing quite spaced, Marshy.
She has had them spaced, and we haven't sort of had to trial her or do much with her in between. You know, before the Karaka Mile, this was her outing on the same Monday before the race. Today she's done the same. I sort of always had a trial up our sleeve, but you know, we haven't had to be too hard on her. She's a very athletic, clean-winded horse, and I think it's enough for her. And the way she's pulled up, I think we'll just bring her on a lot, and you know, she'll probably need very little on Thursday, and she'll have her ready.
You know, when you look at a horse like her, particularly a horse you look at a lot because she is one of the stable stars, do you ever see them come out for work in the morning and go, oh, she might need a bit more of a squeeze here or a bit more of a tighten up? Or is she one of those horses who doesn't vary a lot in her belly size and stuff, so you don't need to change things much?
Yeah, basically she never varies. You know, she can race on a Saturday, you go right over on a Monday, she looks like she did on the Friday. You give her a nice gallop, you look at her that afternoon, she looks exactly the same. Like, she doesn't tighten up, she doesn't sort of let down, she just stays exactly how she sort of was, which I think it makes it easy. She's not a horse I don't think would get away on you. You know, she eats well, she rests good. She's always, she can be a little bit excitable going onto the track, but just playful. But yeah, she stays at a pretty level keel, and I think that makes it a lot easier to train her.
Some people watching this, because there's so much well-written hype and all the love for her, which she obviously deserves. But They would have known a bit more about her. I would pick she wouldn't be much more than 480 kilos. She's not very robust.
No, you're right. She's not overly robust, and probably a horse that when you stand next to her, she's actually a lot taller than what you think. She hasn't fully grown into her frame as yet. She's improved, but I think, it's easy to say, but, you almost look at her and say you're going to be a better 4-year-old. I certainly hope she is too. It'd be quite nice. But yeah, she's very, you'd sort of look at her as athletic, with plenty of scope, but certainly not a gross doing sort of a filly.
Funny situation, because this time last year EV was the people's horse and everybody still loves EV, and you had a lot of attention on you because he won Horse of the Year. But is this a brand new thing for you to be the centre of the attention with, for want of a better word, an Imperatriz type horse or a Mini Winx New Zealand? I'm not saying she's as good as them, but she's getting that level of attention. Is it something new for you?
Well, I think the attention and the sort of the chat that this filly's created is a lot bigger than we've ever seen. Evie's sort of the people's favourite, but this filly is sort of, when people start talking to you, I've had people, older people that have been in the game for a long time saying she's the next La Mer, Sunline, hey, they were champions. I'm certainly not saying she's the next Sunline, but it's nice when good judges will tell you that they believe that's the way she's heading. And, she has really created something, and I think probably because she's unbeaten. Yulong have come into her. She's got a big group of owners, big followers, and yeah, she's created something pretty big.
Let's talk about what she's created for Stephen Marsh Racing. You've built a really big machine in the last 10 years, but you seem to have honed that machine in the last 3. You went to the sales in Melbourne, not personally, but you bought a horse there Sunday by Written Tycoon. Bang, it's sold already. And that's 150 grand. It's not enormous money, but you still got to sell them. It must be very satisfying to be at this stage of your career where you're buying horses now and they're being sold the day you buy them. It's a dream situation for trainers.
Oh, look, it's an absolute dream. Go back last year, our Karaka horses, I think our last year sold in May. And we didn't attend the sale in Melbourne. Dylan and I both flew over, looked at horses for 2 days. We came back Saturday night. But yeah, bought a filly for 150 Australian. By the time it's landed, it's about 200 Kiwi, with exchange rate and everything. And it's a great feeling. We put it up to our owners, and it was sold within a couple of hours. We're going to look at another couple over the next couple of days, but it's brilliant. It feels really good to go and spend a lot of money and have the backing and people having the belief in us. And we believe we buy a nice horse, and getting a lot of new people on board, but we've got a great loyal base of owners that have always supported us, and that's great to have. We're in a very lucky situation.
I remember talking to you on the phone a few years ago. I think you just bought Queen Zoo. I think it was 650,000, and you were a bit nervous. You paid a lot of money for a horse, and you were thinking, right, I need to go sell this horse down. How does it feel now that you know that if you bought another Queen Zoo or type horse for 650 or whatever it is, you could probably sell it by the end of the week? That must feel quite strange.
Yeah, it does. I remember buying Queen Zoo, and as soon as the hammer went down at 650, I nearly lost my voice. I wonder what the hell had happened. I thought, well, this is the end of it. But yeah, and this year we bought a $600,000 filly, and it sold within about 2 hours. So it's we're very proud of where we've sort of got to, and having such a great base of owners and people to support us. It's a much better feeling than sort of waiting a month and still having a lot of shares left and thinking, geez, how are we going to pay for these when Mr. Vella comes knocking at the door?
What about Saturday? Because there's going to be a lot of hyperbole here, and everybody kind of wants your horse to win, apart from the rival trainers who want to beat her. Is it a different situation wheeling her out of the tie-ups here at Ellerslie and going into the parade ring and having that experience in our richest ever race than maybe a year ago when EV was the horse? Is it a different thing now? This is our richest ever race. You've got a $1.20 favourite. This is very rarefied air we're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there will be definitely a different feeling. I think it's going live onto Channel 7 in Australia, the lead up to the race and whatnot. And I just think, there's so much expectation. I mean, we were very, nervous when EV was coming in, me as warm favourite, and he won. But it probably, I think with the following this filly's got and the fact that she is unbeaten and everyone sort of, as you say, well, a lot of people want her to stay unbeaten, and the expectation is that she should stay unbeaten, but she's still got to tick that box. But it will be a different feeling. But we'll have some good numbers in that night, and we're just proud to have be well represented on the night. But I guess I'd be lying if I'd say there was when I leg Matt up on Saturday. It will be a touch of a different feeling.
What about Friday night? Friday night's a weird night for horse trainers because there's not much going on. You can't go out and have a few beers because you've got a big day the next day. What's Stephen Marsh like Friday night before Champions Day?
I hope Stephen Marsh goes to bed early and his brain shuts off and he can...
Is that a problem? Because you do go to bed early, you tend to be a 7:30 man, 8 o'clock man. Is it hard to get the brain to shut off when you know what's coming the next day?
Sometimes it is. If we draw a good barrier and things look like it's going to parcel up good, I'll be a lot happier. But you start drawing wide and you start going over a lot of different scenarios. But I'm generally pretty good like that, and I'm sure I will be. But no, I can't go and have 6 gins and to put me to sleep. That might be on Saturday night.
A man embracing one of the biggest weeks of his working life, Stephen Marsh. There, we thank him. Looking back at this market, of course, also a welcome back. Michael McNabb, only 2 weeks back in the saddle, will ride Lollapalooza for the Richardson Norval team. So an exciting mix of fillies, of boys, of Australian riders, the one Australian raider. It is going to be a great race. Don't miss that barrier draw at 7 on Tuesday night. It's not the only great 3-year-old race, of course, on Saturday. The Derby has historically been our greatest race, and there have been so many moving parts to this one since we saw you last Monday. Since then, I hope he wins. Gone has headed to Australia. That's Gold has also been purchased by her owners in Yulong. So that's Gold to have its last run for Chris Wood this week. It's our equal second favourite, purchased for 7 figures. Well done to the connections. Good luck to you on Saturday. Yulong also now, of course, own Autumn Glory. Second of the Oaks, backing up in the Derby, and Road to Paris, who's her stablemate. Robert Wellwood and Roger James have 3 in the Derby. They know how to win derbies. In fact, Roger James is our king of the classic. This morning at Track Work, we took the chance to talk to Robert Wellwood about their team, 5 days out from the Blue Riband. Funny old situation, Robert Wellwood. You've ended up with 3 horses in the trackside derby this week, and probably not too upset to see a Hope He Wins disappear off to Australia.
Very happy to see her go. Certainly makes our 3 even better chances. But yeah, pretty privileged to have 3 in the Derby. It's obviously a race that Roger's won a lot of times. I've obviously been lucky enough with Orchestral to win, and it'd be pretty nice to put another Derby on both of our records.
Orchestral was very exposed to us. Autumn Glory's becoming more exposed, but she's still relatively unknown. How she's handled coming through an Oaks into a Derby?
Yeah, this is only going to be a 5th run. She, record's very good, really. She won very well at Wanganui. She was average on a bad track at Taranaki, but bounced back. The Waikato Guineas was superb, and she was probably beaten by a very good horse in the Oaks. So her record's stunning, and one big tick in the box is we know she goes 1.5 miles now. So come Derby Day, that's going to be something we know that probably not a lot of others in the field do.
The fact that she hasn't been over-raced, is that a plus going into the back end of what for other horses has been quite a long summer?
Yeah, exactly. Some of the horses that sort of raced in the spring and then right through the summer might be coming to the end of it. She's sort of on an upward plane, and she's come through the Oaks in terrific order. So she's really thriving, and that's what's sort of given us the confidence to back up and go to a Derby.
Road to Paris looks a Derby type horse, but he does have that little issue with running straight. How do you trick him into running straight this week?
Yeah, he's sort of been our derby horse right along. I remember Roger saying in the spring, just the way he moved and everything. We sort of thought a lot of him ability-wise, but also thought that he's always going to get the mile and a half. The running straight's an issue. It's very frustrating because he's got the ability, but without doing things right, it's hard to have any confidence. We've put sidewinkers on him. They'll go on him race day. He's worked on them at home. It's hard to know because a lot of days he's good at home. He can throw the odd trick in at home, but it's been race day when he's let himself down, when he sort of gets into the clear. A good draw, I think, would help. When he gets left out into open room, that's sort of when he runs around. So, we've got to have a good think when we see draws come out, how we're going to ride him to try and suit that as well. But first and foremost, the horse is in terrific order, and I really think that the sidewinkers should help.
For most stables, Ariadne would be a horse they think, gee, we've got a good horse here with a sneaky chance in a derby. Clear third stringer because your other two are two of the three favourites.
Yeah, and to be honest, I probably wouldn't put her as a third stringer. She's a lovely filly, again on an upwards, sort of a trajectory, her run in the Oaks, if you watch back at the top of the straight, she really got sandwiched and put off her feet. And I think had she been able to roll into the race a bit more, you could have seen her, fill the placings. She's come through the Oaks in wonderful order. She looks great. We know the mile and a half really suits her. So I think with an easier run, she's right amongst them.
Point blank for the punters, who's the stable's best chance of winning the derby?
Very hard to say, quite honestly. I nearly couldn't split the three of them. Road to Paris, we've always been thinking derby with him. If he runs straight, he's going to be terribly hard to beat. But the other two fillies are class. They go a mile and a half. I don't know. I couldn't even tell my mother which one to back.
Yeah, we thank Group 1 Bobby for those comments around their three contenders for the derby. These fields and the rest of the meeting away from the NZB Kiwi confirmed around 10:30, 11 o'clock on Wednesday morning. And Craig Baker will be on Sport Nation to talk about those at 11 o'clock. So Sport Nation, the radio station, at 11 on Wednesday morning. That is potentially your derby field. Let's head to the Bone Crusher. There's been a few moving parts to this one. Of course, Legato is starting, so is Pierre. Legato potentially her last ever start. Jaffe tried to back up after winning the Group 1 Takimari Classic 2 weeks ago. And we saw Kingswood gallop this morning. Before we get to him, Waitak is confirmed and Provence is definitely starting here rather than the Dubai Classic for the mares. Here he is, the White Wonder. Kingswood looked very willing this morning for a horse of his age who's had an awfully long but not busy campaign in New Zealand for Gavin Bedgegood. Under Rory Hutchins this morning, strode out beautifully and a happy horse heading to a race that has lost some of its major players. So Kingswood, he'll be hard to miss. He is an absolute beauty. The 2-year-olds, the Sistema, bit of news coming out today. Our Karaka Millions runner-up, McGill, first New Zealand horse home. And the Karaka Million, not coming to this race, Guy Lowry said, gone for a long spell. Now, look at this market and you say to yourself, what's going on here? What's different here about the Karaka Million? Well, virtually none of the Karaka Million horses are here. Remarkably, only 2 of the Karaka Million starters are likely to be in the Sistema, the only Group 1 we have at Alizé for the 2-year-olds. In the last 6 weeks, so many of them have headed to the paddock. Some have headed back to Australia and we're left with a vastly different bunch. Spoke to Sam Burgesson about Lara Antipova. He said she's spot on. She was a bit tired after her slog in the mud on the home track at Matamata, but they are very happy with her. You'll be seeing the best version of her on Saturday and she will be many of the punters' multi-anchors. Let's get to the Auckland Cup. It used to be Auckland Cup Day this day. It still kind of is. It's just mixed in with a lot of other great racing. News out of the Cup. Well, it's the horse you probably know much about. Age of Sail for Chris Lees. Great trainer. We don't often see him at Ellerslie. It's coming across. It's a steady handicap performer in New South Wales. It's got a chance in what's a very open cup alongside fellow Australian Braden Starr, who now heads the market. The precursor, who was the favourite before the Avondale Cup, is not going to be starting. Spoke to Kevin Myers. He could potentially have 3 in the race. Just Charlie is sure to start. Bozo and Sunset Boulevard, who won at Trentham on Sunday, he'll work them or look at them on Tuesday morning and make a decision around those two. So Kevin Myers has 3 entered in the market, but he'll make a decision on 2 of them on Tuesday. Just Charlie is starting. Most on that page are going to start, though, the newcomer being Age of Sail. Talking about newcomers coming in from Australia, here's the market for the Albasti Equiwheel Dubai Classic for the mares. A couple of newbies here, Chikamahito and Mare of Mount Buller. Now, they're not big-time Group 1 horses from Australia, but they are black-type performers. They are coming across to chase bigger black-type here. Good, even bunch. The horse who is not going to be there on, or the 2 horses who aren't going to be there on that list. Grail Seeker has gone to the paddock for the meantime. Grail Seeker is out, so your 3rd favourite not starting. Provence is starting, but in another race. She's going to be in the Bone Crusher New Zealand Stakes. So 3rd and 4th favourites there are not starting. Chikamahito and Mare of Mount Buller join the fray. When I spoke to Andrew Scott today from Wexford, he said Tomodachi in and Lux Libertas is now going to start. But most important there in the market, 3rd and 4th favourites not starting. Quintessa, Sam Burgesson said we're really happy the blinkers go back on for the horse who way back on September the 6th won the first Group 1 of the season. There's an update on what you will be seeing on Saturday. Much more previews coming up on all sorts of forms and barrier draws and trackside in the next 5 days. But this morning at Track Work, we took the opportunity to catch up with one of the new players and the New Zealand and Australian syndication base. These guys are the syndicators right down for all the levels. They can give you a horse for $100 or $200. My Racehorse, of course, this time last year, went to Ellerslie and won the Derby with Willie Do It. We took the chance to find out more from Rob Darth. Well, Rob, it must be great to be back here at a place that must mean a lot to you, where this time last year, Willie Do It won the New Zealand Derby for My Racehorse.
Yeah, we've got pretty good memories here. He's not quite going as well as he was last year at the moment, but yeah, it was an incredible day last year. We had about 200 owners fly down from Australia for it. The only bittersweet thing was that we weren't able to have New Zealand owners in it at the time, but obviously now we do.
Okay, you've become a far bigger part of our landscape in New Zealand. Do you have any idea how many Kiwis have shares and micro shares in My Racehorse?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got about 1,000, a bit over 1,000 New Zealand owners already. So we opened up and got approval to have New Zealand owners in about November last year. So yeah, it's growing really quickly. And also we've seen by opening up New Zealand-based horses, we've got about 2,500 Australian owners owning in New Zealand-based horses as well.
Do you find there's people who are now involved in racing who thought they never could afford to be involved in racehorse ownership?
That's exactly right. So I guess our whole thing is based on, we think there's nothing better in life than the thrill of racehorse ownership. But the downside is that traditionally it's been quite unattainable for the majority of people. So our whole model, which is micro shares, which are also no ongoing fee, it just gives people that price point to get involved. So $100, $200 to own a share in a racehorse that wins the New Zealand Derby, for example. And it allows them to get involved. And what we've seen is that actually turns people into much bigger racing fans. So they go to the track more. They might go on to own more with us. They might go on to own elsewhere. But it's just great to get them into the ecosystem. And it's really become obvious that it turns people into big racing fans by having that ownership stake. They have 3 to 5 years of getting updates, being educated about what racing's all about, getting to go to stable tours, talk to trainers, meet like-minded owners, and it just grows and grows from there.
Do you find these days everybody has a phone in their pocket which has a camera and videos? Is that a key component to the My Racehorse experience? Tuesday morning, track work, that ends up on someone's phone. They're having a coffee, they're watching their horse. Is that a big part of what you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously micro shares, like let's say we have, a couple of thousand owners in a horse. A key part of what people get out of it is the entertainment and getting those updates. And that's why we try and work with the best stables and work closely with them. And we have our own racing and updates team as well. We want to make sure that even if the horse isn't going well, hopefully they all are, but we can't control that, but we can control the updates and basically trying to make it a richer experience, like educate people on what everything means. There's a lot of jargon in racing and try and translate that so people can enjoy it and basically go on the journey. So from when a yearling is purchased, gets broken in, first trials, gets to the racetrack, all the way through to, when they retire, they might go through the ring, and owners get their share of any sales proceeds and prize money as well. And then also post-racing as well. So we try and take them on that end-to-end journey and really educate them about the horse as well.
I know it's become a really big focus for the My Racehorse business now, is what happens to these horses when they finish the career, and how do we make their lives sustainable past that?
Yeah, so we have what we call the Horse Super Fund, and basically it's a fully funded retirement pathway and safety net for every horse we ever own. So there was a horse that we owned 20% of a few years ago for about 6 to 12 months, and we do a few components to this Horse Super Fund. So firstly, it's fully funded up front. So because we have no ongoing fees, a portion of every micro share that we sell goes into the Horse Super Fund for every horse. And when the horse retires, we basically put it through this program where it assesses what pathway is most suitable. So some horses, if they're lucky, they go down potentially a high-level equestrian path, and there's lots of homes for them then, all the way down to paddock horses. And effectively, we're investing that money that we've raised up front into the horse on the back end when it's most important. We also have an annual audit, so we track every single horse that we've ever owned. So we're up to about 50 now. And through that process, we kind of uncover horses that need to take advantage of the third part of the Horse Super Fund, which is a guaranteed lifetime safety net. So whenever they need assistance or support, through that process, we uncover, one horse, we spoke to the owner, was done with racing, wanted to move it on. So rather than put it through a sale and go for, $500 or $1,000, we just take it back, put it through retraining, and that horse I mentioned has just been sold to an equestrian home.
You guys, your team, so you and Sam and some of the other My Racehorse people are going to be here at Ellerslie on Saturday, and you're going to have an activation, as they say in marketing speak, which is basically a chance to say to people, come see us, learn about us, and guess what? You might want to share on a horse.
Yeah, that's it. We're not winning the Derby this year, unfortunately, but we are going to have quite a presence on track. So we're going to be in between the two grandstands. We're going to have a big setup. I don't want to give it away, but there may be a bit of a skill tester present, and we're going to be giving away lots of free shares in horses, because what we found is people want to give racing ownership a go, but there is the financial barrier, and there's also the knowledge barrier and just not being totally confident getting involved. So come on down. We've got stubby holders and stuff to give away. Everyone gets something, but yeah, if you're lucky, you'll walk away with a share in a horse.
For people who can't be at Ellerslie this Saturday, we feel sorry for those people, but if they can't be here, how do they find out more about My Racehorse's movement into New Zealand and about the business itself?
Yeah, so just head to myracehorse.com.
A pleasure to find out more from Rob this morning. They will be at Ellerslie on Saturday if you'd like to go along and find out more about My Racehorse. Here's the coverage that will be coming up on Trackside over the next few days. All the information we could possibly give you, whether it's from track work, whether it's barrier draws, whether it's the numbers, the dividends and the markets, it's going to be coming into your ears, into your brain, and hopefully more money into your TAB account. That's coming up. The big one, of course, Saturday we kick off around about lunchtime. The races, the first one goes just before 1 o'clock. It's not just about the champions we're going to see this week. As we leave the show tonight, one of our great horses of the last couple of years, Savaglee, has been retired. It's really hard for New Zealand trained horses to win Group 1s in Australia. We haven't done it for a couple of years. He went so close in the Australian Guineas last year. The Oaks stud have retired him. He will be standing at stud. He's got the bloodlines and the performance to do so. As we count down to Saturday and the Day of Champions, let's talk about one of the current ones as we farewell the mighty Savaglee with his New Zealand 2000 Guineas win.
Spratt got the favourite out of the pocket. Savaglee comes after So Naive. Love Poem onto the scene outside of the pier. Then He's Lucid and Kiwi Skyhawk. Savaglee cruised up to So Naive. Love Poem a half a length off Savaglee. Savaglee has gone to the lead at the 300. Love Poem won't go away though. Domain Ace is running on wider. It's Savaglee a length and a half clear from Love Poem, and then Domain Ace. Savaglee at the 100 metres, 2 or 3 lengths in front of Love Poem. Then came Domain Ace, but he's all spirit and speed. Savaglee, a spectacular Guineas win by 3 lengths at the line, beat Love Poem, Domain Ace.
The Guerin Report, brought to you by Diatonic, standing at you long.